One.
Wahahaha.
Thank you for the appreciation there. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to those who have joined this as a recording, and thank you guys for all coming live. We are talking about medical hypnosis tonight. So I'm very, very excited, which means I'm very activated, and I'm prone to speaking too fast. So you can just go like this and say, slow down, Daryl, slow down, if you need me to do that. And if you need me to speed up, you can do this, okay? And if everyone starts doing that, then I'll know what to do. I want you to have fun. I want you to enjoy this, and I want you just to be comfortable. So get up, go and get a cup of tea, wander about, have some food, put your screen on and off, depending what's comfortable for you. So what are we going to be talking about specifically? Because it's a giant field, right? Medical hypnosis. Well, tonight I wanted to talk to you about the mind-body connection. I want to introduce it to you if you don't know a lot about it and how it actually works. I want to talk to you about some recent research and what it shows about the mind-body connection. I want to explore how your mind-body connection and how its functioning can lead to disease in the body and where we can start to help with medical hypnosis. And we've got about an hour for the talk, so I'm not going to talk about everything. Okay, I'm not going to go into pain management, things like that. But you will have info from this talk that if you're a hypnotherapist, you can take away and put into practice straight away. So you're going to have information that's going to be helpful for you in your clinic with your clients. And if you're not in practice, then I hope you've learned something beneficial for yourself. And we're going to finish this with a group meditation, as I've mentioned. And it's going to be in a new style. Okay, it's going to be in a Daryl style that I like to do. And it's going to combine hypnosis with a form of talking to the higher power. Okay. So those of you that don't believe in a higher power, that's okay. What do you believe in? Do you believe in the power of your unconscious mind? Do you believe in the law of attraction? Do you believe in your higher self? For those of you who do believe in a higher power, just bring this to mind because we're going to be utilizing this with the meditation for those of us who want to do that. And obviously, there's about an hour before we do that. So you don't have a lot of time to think about what you want to work on. And you don't have a lot of time to think about what your beliefs are. So don't worry. You can just leave it open and trust whatever comes. Or if you're not sure what to believe, just borrow my belief today. Borrow my belief that there's something out there that's going to help. That's just going to help you get really well really soon if you've got an issue. Or if it's not medical, it's just going to resolve whatever you need resolved. Okay. With questions, I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, to keep them to the end unless it's really important. So if it's really important and you're just completely lost, or it's like, Daryl, we can't see you or hear you, please jump in. Otherwise, if you hold it to the end, after we've done the meditation, I'm just going to be here for half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it takes to answer those questions, okay? I'm going to be available. So you're going to have time to ask them. And you guys can go at any time. Go if your dinner's ready, go if you're bored, go if you don't want to do the meditation, or if you've done the meditation but you're not wanting to do any Q&A, go then, okay? So don't feel rude, feel free just to suit yourself. So let's start by talking about me, okay? Well, if you've been to any of my talks, then you'll know that you're going to get a slightly different story every time I tell this. And the reason for that is because we're all very, very complex. I'm sure getting you to where you were today, it was not one event, but a series of events. Would I be right? Like lots of different things had to happen for you to choose the path that you're on. And each time I tell this, I kind of focus on a part of that. So the truth is that I've been interested in hypnosis from a very young age, although I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know what it was. I was doing meditation before I was 10 on my friends. And then I got interested in herbs and herbal medicine also from a young age. At 18 years old, I was bringing back herbs from the Gypsy Fair and reading books about how they work. So health and natural medicine and hypnosis has always been part of my life. At 21, I started working in a health store. It was called Healthy Living back in the olden days, and then it changed to Hardee's. Then I worked in Health 2000. And I did 17 years working part-time in health stores, working under naturopaths and so on. I used to love reading. I was reading about hypnosis, and my favorite book was The Journey by Brandon Bays. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend you get that book. It's very inspiring for what's achievable through hypnosis. Although she doesn't use the word hypnosis, I don't think, in the book, at least not very often. That is, in fact, what she is using. So one day, and this is a pivotal point I want to highlight for you. I was working in the health shop and we heard the most incredible stories, like the most incredible things, the most incredible success stories and failures that they would walk into the shop over the years. And there was one particular lady from Australia. I remember her. She was tall, very imposing. She had red hair, and she walked in and she's like, I know my stuff. And this was the thing that used to happen. People would come in because they wanted to tell you what they knew. They wanted to reinforce it for themselves or just I don't know, they'd like to brag because they spent their life doing the research and good on them. And she deserved to brag because when she told me her story, I was blown away, completely blown away. So she had two children. One was a daughter who had Down syndrome, and the other was a son who couldn't walk, although I forget what the condition was. And with her daughter, she was told this is the prognosis for her life. This is what her health is going to be like. This is the situation. And she was like, no, no. And she went through a system which she described to me of behavioral therapy, training her almost in a way which wouldn't be suitable in today's world to act like a normal child rather than act like a Down syndrome child. She wouldn't let her go into special unit. She mainstreamed her. She fed her a super clean diet, like the most clean diet you can imagine. And she did different interventions. She showed me a photo of her. She goes, this is my daughter as a child. Down syndrome, we can all agree. She goes, this is my daughter now. She was an adult. She was a naturopath working, I think, in the Gold Coast, somewhere up the coast in Australia. And she looked like even her features had changed. Her features had moved away from the kind of Downs look more to a non-Downs look. And it was just incredible. And then she told me the story of her son, who was meant to never walk, and how she got him out of his wheelchair. She got him up and walking. And it was just so incredible. And the thing is that I believed her. I just decided I'm going to believe her. I just thought this is true. And of course, there was photographic evidence as well. So I got home and I told the story. I talked to my partner. I says, oh, this lady, she was incredible. And this is what she did. And my partner turned around to me and looked at me and says, you need to do that. It's like, what? You need to do that. I was like, oh, yeah, but that's a lot of work. It's like, no, but you need to do that. So I was like, yep, you're right. I do. That's what I need to do. That's the kind of work that I'm called to do. And there's a long story that involves praying because I had no money. I was like, the money miraculously arrived to pay for my training. But ultimately, I knew I needed to do 3 years of natural medicine, and that was going to be full time. I knew that I needed to do a hypnotherapy diploma. And I also knew that I was totally broke. So I prayed and got money for the hypnotherapy diploma course, knowing that I could then charge a high per hour cost, which would allow me to work part time and then be an adult student back at university again, learning natural medicine. There was no way a just above minimum wage job in the health shop was going to get me through uni, although some people did that. They just worked 24/7 and studied 24/7. Don't know how they're alive, but however. So that was my plan. And I went through that journey, although I didn't finish the natural medicine degree because I diverted off into teaching hypnosis once I had these amazing results and saw how brilliant it was. So that's roughly my story. And over the years with, I think it was 2012, I finished my hypnosis diploma. I'm thinking back now here. Over the years, I've come up with a philosophy on health, and I'm going to give you in really short bullet points here. My philosophy is that the body can heal from pretty much anything. I was diagnosed with a physical condition recently, and I was like, fuck. Like, if it was not a physical, like, injurious condition, then I could fix that if it was a virus or bacteria, or if it was, just something going wrong in my body. But this was like a structural deformity that had been uncovered. And I was like, fuck, excuse my French, by the way, I swear, if you didn't know. But also, if you also don't know, swearing blocks pain. So it's great to use when we're feeling strong emotions. painful emotions. And so I went to the doctor, and the doctor's like, well, this is incurable. And I haven't cured it yet. But what I can tell you is when I started my investigations into is it possible to even cure this? One of the first people I spoke to was my mother. And my mother was like, I had that. I was like, yeah, you've got it because I had it. She was like, yeah, I fixed it. It's like, what did you do? And she explained how she did it, which I then relayed to the doctor. And the doctor's like, well, that's impossible. You can't do that. I'm like, yeah, but she did. And so I'm going to do that too. So I'll keep you posted, right? Once I've fixed it, I'll make a video. I'll explain all about it. Um, but my philosophy going into this situation was we can start it. Almost anything at all, you can start it. Like, I think regrowing a limb would be really, really hard. Like, that would probably be the hardest thing. And I don't know the mechanism by which a human can do it. But almost anything we can heal from, any disease, any cancer, any condition, that's my belief. Or at least I'm going into any session with that belief. I'm going into any problem that I have with that belief. I'm going into any situation where a family member is not well with that belief that it can be healed. Now, I also believe that we were born with perfect blueprints. I don't believe that we are meant to die young. I don't believe that we're meant to get disease ridden and broken and die in early age. I believe we're made perfectly. I believe that we're meant to live to an old age and die healthy, warm in our beds. That's my belief. And so I believe as we go through life, there are so many factors that take us away from that. But if we address those, we can come back and live a long, happy, healthy life. What else? Okay, this is obvious, and we possibly all share this, that stress and negative attitudes and beliefs are our biggest block to healing. A prime example and another part of the formation of my beliefs was watching two grandparents growing up. In a nutshell, one super healthy, clean diet, grew all his own food for the whole family, actually, for me too. But also took like liver salts at night and brewer's yeast and multivitamin. And this was back, in the 80s. I remember him taking out all of his little supplements and saying, this is my garlic. And he would laugh because it was Kwai garlic, but he knew we had family in New Zealand and he would go, this is my Kiwi garlic. And he would just put in all his little supplements, his little oils, his cod liver oil. He lived to 96 and he was turning over turf in whole fields in his late 70s. He was very, very healthy. His deterioration came after being left alone in a nursing home after he well outlived his wife, like by 25 years, something like that. So his wife was my grandmother, who to contrast, oh no, no, I couldn't possibly walk up the hill. No, that's bad for my asthma. And oh no, no, I can't get better. I'm incurable. Oh no, no, this can't be helped. Who would be eating chalk ices out of the freezer whenever I came into the house, or eating bacon sandwiches and sneaking all the unhealthy treats. And every day it was, you're allowed to treat though. Oh, you're allowed to treat. So the attitude was so different. And I watched her with her pills every day. This is my Prozac. This is my anxiety medication. This is my heart spray. This is my this one. And she just had this big chunk of pills. And to me, it was just so obvious. Coming in through the health shop over the years after that, I watched as people kind of divided into these people that really wanted to be healthy, knew how to be healthy, and were proactive about their health, and the people that didn't want to be healthy or didn't know how to be healthy or had something else holding them back. And so for me, it's about getting these people over here, over there. It's about education, it's about motivation, it's about how do we tell people actually, yeah, you can be well and it can feel good to be well, and you don't have to give things up, and all of the above. So that's some bullet points of my philosophy. Of course, there's a lot more to it. Now, we are going to start talking about the mind-body connection because medical hypnosis relies on understanding, at least in part, the mind-body connection, which is funny for me to say because, of course, we didn't know anything about the science of this until quite recently, right? We couldn't do brain scans, we couldn't see inside the body, but we've always understood that it works, that there is a mind-body connection, that the mind can aid in our healing and recovery. Multiple civilizations have. The exciting time that we are in is that we are starting to know how and why and making this provable and repeatable, and it's going to be very exciting. So with your clients, if you're a hypnotherapist, They might struggle to understand the connection between the mind and body, struggle to understand how thoughts can perhaps even cause disease and therefore heal disease, or at least exacerbate disease and alleviate disease. And that's because people don't understand the physical body. They don't. And they don't understand the brain. I don't. I'm trying so hard. I'm reading so many books and doing so much study, but the more I learn, the less I know, right? Who else feels that way? A few of you. It's such a big subject, but we can do our best and we can share things with our clients that might help motivate them. Because when people start to understand the mind-body connection, it makes healing believable. And once it's believable, it's achievable, right? So to start thinking about, are there some key facts, some key tidbits that I can give to my clients, pieces of information that's really going to help them to understand the mind-body connection or to understand that healing is achievable and that the mind can help. So let's get into this because we say mind-body, it's thrown around all over the place, right? But do we actually know what it means in regards to the research that's happening around mind-body? And again, look, there could be different definitions, but I'm going to give you mine for today. So the M being the mind stands for your mental emotional factors. So that's your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, your attitudes, your coping styles. Your mind includes things like intuition, gut feelings, body memories. Okay. Can all agree on that? Now, the body, this is where the difference might be for you. The body stands for the brain. Okay, the brain, the physical body, the nervous system. So that could be subdivided into autonomic, sympathetic, parasympathetic, and the endocrine system. So that's your system of glands that produce and release hormones, regulate various systems in your body, bodily functions, your metabolism, growth, reproduction. So B stands for the body, but it's also the communication within the body. It's also your brain. So some people think mind body, they think brain body. No, I'm thinking thoughts and beliefs and how it influences your brain and therefore your body. Okay, your brain through the nervous system and endocrine system, how that communicates and affects your body. Then the C is going to stand for connection, obviously. And the connection is your immune system. It's cells and chemicals that connect the mind and body that are responsible for detecting, connecting with, and dealing with bacteria, fungus, parasites, viruses, cancer cells, anything foreign living in the body or that's not alive that's in the body that's causing problems, your immune system is going to take care of. So when I'm thinking mind-body connection, it's the interplay between your immune system, the communication systems in your body, your nervous system, the endocrine system, your thoughts, beliefs, your emotions. It's actually a really big whole lot of stuff pulled together, isn't it? It's just not that simple. And it takes a lot of understanding. But that's okay because there's some really clever people, that's not me, doing research for us that we can then read and we can digest and we can help people. So let's get on to this research. Okay, so there's so much research going on now. And although there's a lot that we don't know, we do know some things. Okay, so what are they focusing on in this field of research at the moment? Well, they're focusing on answering questions like, do different attitudes change the outcome for someone with cancer? Does it change the end result for someone and what they're able to achieve with their health if they have a different thought pattern or belief system or approach to illness or their thoughts or their life? Do emotional factors make it more or less likely that people develop chronic diseases or recover from disease? And although this research is ongoing, we have a lot of information right now. But where it's at now, I'm predicting to you guys now, in 10 or 20 years, maybe sooner, we're going to have so much information. We're going to be able to do absolute magic with the stuff that's just been coming out, that's showing, which I'm going to get to in a moment, which is going to directly connect how your thoughts can cause a heart attack, right? With this research, we now have pathways to health and healing for so many different things, and it's just going to grow. The information is growing rapidly, the field's growing rapidly, people are paying attention to it, it's becoming credible. And yeah, I reckon 10 or 20 years, we're going to see that we're going to be able to use our minds to do so much more because we know how it works. It's not crucial to know how something works, but it really, really helps with that belief. But for right now, because we don't know how everything works, we can still do what we've always done, right? We observe what works. We don't have to know how, but if something works, why not try and replicate it? I mean, that's how I got started. I went into clinic and I was like, I'd read all of Milton Erickson's case studies, and I didn't know how the girl got her sight back, but I was like, ah, well, he did it. I can do it. Let's copy what he did. And got similar results, which we can talk to another time. So let's have a look. I'm gonna give you a couple of names. If you want to do more reading, there's a guy called Dr. Stan Brodsky, who I absolutely love. He wrote books like The Neuroscience of Mindfulness, The Neuroscience of Sleep. He's got some great science on the mind-body connection in there. You probably know Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's got multiple books, and I think a new documentary that I haven't watched yet, which is just, his books are just phenomenal. Then Dr. Kelly Turner, who wrote Radical Remission. Again, we can figure out how something works by looking in the body and doing clinical studies that we can replicate, but we can also look at populations and look at, hey, here are 1,000 people who spontaneously recovered from cancer. What have they got in common? And so that's what Kelly Turner's doing in her book. Then we've got people like Anita Murjani, which is just a single case study, a story of spontaneous recovery from almost death. So these are some people that you can look them up and maybe get inspired of some of the things you might be able to do. All of the things that are done that aid in the recovery of the people and the stories and the cases in these books, it's all, in my belief, replicable with hypnosis. Okay, so including Brandon Bay's The Journey. You know, the reason that I studied hypnosis is because I recognized what she was doing as hypnosis. And so instead of flying to America and spending tens of thousands of dollars studying her technique, I went and learned hypnotherapy instead. So let's talk about what the research is showing. Okay, so we go into the stress response, which we're all familiar with. And if we're in the stress response over time, it can lead to the prolonged release of cortisol, stress hormone. And of course, that's going to be detrimental to a variety of bodily functions. It's really great when you need it, but when you have too much all the time, it's going to be quite bad. Cortisol, when it's metabolized, can be metabolized into cortisone. This makes the blood vessels less elastic and can lead to cardiovascular problems such as hypertension. Cortisone also suppresses the immune system, so it's a lower ability to recover and repair. But recent research, and this is what is quite exciting in the field, has shown that chronic stress and high cortisol also leads to something called amyloid protein production in the brain and in the heart. And what they found is this amyloid protein, it damages blood vessels and can lead directly to things like brain aneurysm. Can I even say that word? Brain aneurysms and heart attacks. Now, this research is really, really new and it's really, really exciting. And again, I'm not the expert, but I'm reading the books of experts and reading what they have to say. And if we follow this understanding, then we know what we can do to help prevent this happening. And we can help be an adjunct to treatment. But also, so this amyloid protein, let's come back to it. It's going to damage blood vessels in the brain and the heart. And I was debating whether to bring this up or not, but some of you will know my brother-in-law at 39, he had a brain aneurysm and he died 2 years ago. And I remember being like thinking, what causes that? And you know, historically, it's just one of those things. You might have it your whole life, and one day it just goes. It's just a thing that happens. But after this research, I'm thinking, no, like this was in the height of the pandemic. His wife had just lost her job because she was mandated out of it. She wouldn't take the vaccine. He was about to lose his job, so because he was mandated to take the vaccine and he wasn't going to take it. And so his level of stress was just so high. It was higher than I've seen in a person about to lose his house, his livelihood. Their best friends had just had to lose their house and move overseas because of these mandates. And we just saw kind of disaster all around. And of course, in the middle of all this, high, prolonged stress, because you might remember we had lots of notice for when these mandates were coming in, and they did it just before Christmas. Just before Christmas and New Year, they had 6 kids, So this high prolonged stress, I have absolutely no doubt, through the high cortisol and the production of amyloid protein, damaged his brain and quite possibly killed him. I do think that. Now, is this to say you got to panic when you're stressed? No. But when you are under prolonged stress, you have to meditate. You have to do hypnosis, because what the studies are also showing is that meditation, hypnosis, even mindfulness, and even repetitive tasks such as knitting, doing jigsaw puzzles, or repetitive job will actually clear and lower that amyloid protein out of your brain. So if he'd been able to take time out of his day to meditate several times a day, or to do some mindfulness and meditation, every chance that he could still be here. And so this is a message I do want to drill into my clients. I don't scare them, by the way. I'm not going to go, by the way, this guy died, and, be careful about that stress. Instead, when I see those high levels of stress, in a very gentle and loving way, I'm going to invite my clients towards multiple sets of meditation, letting them know that just 6 or 7 minutes at a time, it can be really short, it can be in a tea break, is enough just to reset their brain, to start clearing out that amyloid protein, just to allow their brain to detox from it so it doesn't linger and cause harm, so it can help your heart. I'm not going to go into it here, but there's some awesome research about the effect of even having a nap. And they did it on the whole population of Greece when it transferred from being a place that had siestas into a place that was skipping the siesta. And they measured the two sets of populations, the people that had the naps, the siestas, and the people who didn't. And the disparity in the results for their health was just so massive. It was absolutely gigantic. The people who had the siestas, their hearts, they had so many less events. They had so much better cardiovascular health. And here's the mechanism. When you do that, there's lots of cool things that happen in your body when you rest. There's lots of amazing things that happen in your brain and for your nervous system and for your immune system. And one of those things is the clearing of this excess cortisol, amyloid protein kind of system that's going on there. Cool. So, where do we go to from here? Excess cortisol is also going to lead to inflammation. That is going to cause immune system impairment. I'm going to talk about the relationship between stress, hypnosis, and conditions of the immune system, overactive and underactive, tonight. Okay, but before we do, and because now we know that there is a mechanism by which specifically thoughts in the form of stress, because remember, we can have the same situation, two different people, right? And one person's like, what's that? Did you see that on my screen? That must be the symbol for Zoom to do. Did you see that? So I don't know what happened. So we can have two different people, and we can have one person that's like, let's have a party, it's fine. I don't know what's happening there. And we can have somebody else that's like, oh my God, I'm going to die, right? This is horrible. This is the worst thing that could ever happen. Now, those thoughts, as we know, can activate the stress response in our body or not. Do we agree on that? Yep. And so if our thoughts can activate a stress response, then a stress response can cause cortisol, and cortisol can cause amyloid protein and cortisol, which can damage our immune system and our health. We can then agree that thoughts can damage our health. Is that correct? Yep. Okay. So are we saying all disease is caused by thought and can be cured by it? Well, no, we're not. Bacteria still exists. Viruses still exist. Fungus still exists. Parasites still exist. Cancer still exists. But our minds can modulate how we respond to it. It can do it to such a great degree that you can almost change whether you're going to live or die. Our thoughts can help to dictate whether we're going to survive something or whether we're going to die from it. I believe it's that powerful. Now, again, not everything is caused by a mind-body connection dysfunction. So Something that is going to be helpful with hypnosis. Something that isn't might not be. Sometimes somebody just ate the wrong thing. Sometimes there's a chemical in your environment that's going to harm you. Sometimes there's behavioral stuff, but if you've just eaten the wrong thing or there's a chemical in your environment, hypnosis might not be able to help. Although I do know somebody who was doing research to that effect, a hypnotherapist in Australia, who was teaming up with scientists to look at, can we use hypnosis to influence stem cells to repair damage caused by something foreign. I don't know the results of that research, but it's interesting to think about. Medical hypnosis can utilize mind-body connection concepts to help alongside treatment, right? But it's not going to replace treatment. So we don't want to say, hey, everybody, stop your treatment, go and get hypnosis. Instead, what we want to say is that, hey, this might be really helpful adjunct. It might be very, very powerful as a complementary therapy alongside whatever you're doing, be it orthodox medicine or natural medicine or lifestyle medicine, whatever else you're doing to treat your health. It's not going to replace a healthy diet, for example, but it can inspire you to eat one. The other area where it's very, very helpful, and I'm going to move into this next, is the psychological and social factors that relate to illness. And I mentioned about my grandmother, my grandfather. I see this every day in my clinic. I see this with every person. There are people that you can see are in the psychology of stress and doom and gloom, and with social factors that put pressure on them to live an unhealthy lifestyle. And there is the opposite of that. Who you surround yourself with really, really matters if you want to become well. I remember having a conversation with someone recently, and I commended her on starting up her support group for people with a similar medical condition. But I said to her, um, I don't know, but, and often say I don't know when I think I do know anyway, but it's just a way of people are more open to it. I don't know, but I would be wondering if I was in a support group with people with this condition, if I wouldn't just be surrounded by doom and gloom, people that were negative, people that were just moaning and complaining. And although we want to support each other, are you, as a nice, lovely person, just going to be the support for them? And that was indeed the case. My recommendation is if you want to surround yourself in a support network because you've got a condition, support yourself with positive people. Make a group where there are rules such as it's okay to be sad, it's okay to feel your emotions, but we're positive here. It's not a group for doom and gloom. So, what are some areas where psychological and social factors can influence illness, and how can hypnosis help us deal with those? So, the first one is exposure. You know, right from the beginning, we have to be exposed to risk. And there are certain psychological and social factors which make it more likely that we're going to be exposed to risk. For example, growing up in Scotland, weren't we all drinking? I met two people in my whole life that I knew didn't drink. So many more in New Zealand, but only two in Scotland. And one of them is because they had liver cirrhosis already, it was from a medical condition. They were a teenager. But your exposure to risk can come from your behaviors, come from your psychology. Are you depressed? Are you drinking? Are you stressed? Are you drinking? Are you smoking? Are you in a culture where unhealthy behavior is encouraged? Sexually transmitted diseases, HIV, this can come from things like risky sex. And again, cultures where there's more promiscuity and more acceptability of things like that. So you can see right there, there's somewhere that we can intervene, right? There's something we can do right there. We can go in and we can go, right, where is your exposure to risk and how can we mitigate that for our clients? And then, of course, there's the initial response to exposure. Just really basically, if you get diagnosed with something, there could be two initial responses. There could be panic and activation of the stress response and a lowered immune system, or there could be, it's okay, we're going to get through this. It's going to be fine. If you read The Journey by Brennan Bays, that was what it was. From day one of her illness that she recovered from, it was, you got this. It's going to be fine. A completely different attitude. And I think that that's essential. I personally believe that you really want to, as far as possible, have an early response that's beneficial. That whatever happens, it's going to be okay. You got this. So, psychological and social factors will determine how you respond after your initial um, exposure. Example of if I get a cold, I don't go, oh no, I'm getting a cold. Oh no, I've got to talk tomorrow night. Oh no, I'm not going to be able to work. Oh, damn, I was planning to go out this weekend. Oh, I hate the cold. Oh, I'm going to feel shit. Oh, poor me. Instead, it's like, okay, let's load up on vitamin C really, really, really high. Let's have lots of fluids. Let's switch to a soup fast and cancel some commitments and rest. This is great. This is a great opportunity for my body to clean out. I love it when I get a cold because it's very rare. And when it happens, I know that it's my body clearing out. I know that what's happening is a bit of a detox, really. I'm going to sweat out some pathogens, going to sweat out some toxins rather. And that as my body takes care of the virus, it's also going to do a bit of a clean out and I'm going to feel better after it than I did before. And I know that when I'm not toxic because I live a healthy lifestyle, I have a lot less colds. And so if I'm getting a cold, and we all know when we get run down, we tend to get sick more. I'm sure we can all agree that. And sometimes it's like, oh, Daryl, this is just giving you some information about your lifestyle. You need to sleep more. You need to eat better. It's some great personal feedback. So you can see the attitude at the very least can change how you feel about it. And when you change how you feel about something, you change your immune response, which we're going to get to. So hypnosis can, of course, help prepare you for this. You can start now just by deciding right now, whatever happens in my life, it's going to be okay. I got this. My body's awesome. My body knows how to deal with things, and I just need to give it the space and the environment to do that. I might not know what to do straight away, but I'll figure it out. It's going to be okay. And you can just accept that suggestion. You don't even have to remember it. Just put it somewhere in the back of your brain. Daryl says, it's going to be fine. Whatever happens, something happens to a family member and they're open to doing what it takes to get well, they're going to be fine too. It's going to be okay. Now, once the next step is once you're in the thrall of disease. Okay. So once you got it, you're locked down. You know, you're like, shit, what am I going to do about it? What is my attitude going to be to this disease? What are your beliefs around the disease that you have? Do you think it's a killer? Do you think you're going to keep it forever? Do you get depressed because of the disease? Does it make you anxious? Or do you have a positive outlook? Is there a meaning and a purpose behind this disease? Is this disease telling you to change your life, to lose some weight, to be a different person? You know, I worked for so many years in the health shop and so many people came in. The number one thing was arthritis. That was the number one selling product was glucosamine. I don't remember almost ever anybody telling a client to lose weight. It just wasn't a thing, you know, whereas excess weight on the joints is going to be one of the biggest thing, but it's a very hard thing to talk about and it's a hard thing to look at, it's a hard thing to address. So instead, they just took a supplement, right? Or even worse, they took drugs that might lower their immune system and do cause more damage. So once you're in the thrall of something, and that could include things like obesity, we can or alcoholism, we could go, right, shit, well, what can I do about this? Like what can I do to get out of it? If you have a good psychology, you're going to be fine. If you have a good social environment, you're going to be fine. And if you've got a negative psychology and a bad social environment, it's going to be really, really hard and you're going to need some help. Again, hypnosis, perfect. A lot of medical hypnosis, it's not magic. Someone's not sitting in the chair and I'm going, and your disease is gone. You know, we're going, right, what do you need to do to get well? And we're going to uncover a lot of stuff that needs to change. I wanted to bring in something, backtrack a little bit, something I wanted to say before, which is, you know, the first thing when anybody comes to me with a cancer diagnosis, which we've all had friends and family in our life, is they get that diagnosis and they get such a fright, they get such a shock. It's traumatic. They have there's some grief immediately or some mourning for the life that they're losing, and they're actually pressured quite harshly with an urgency for treatment. Whereas very often cancer can be slow growing. I'm not saying it always is, and definitely don't take this as medical advice. But my first thing that I say to friends and family is you've got time. Like you've got time. This didn't appear overnight. It's not going to double tomorrow. Like you don't have to make a decision today about what you're going to do. You don't have to replan your whole life. Stop, take a breath. You've got time. And the reason I wanted to make a point of sharing this with you is because later on, people have fed back to me that was the best thing they ever heard. Like of everything else, everyone else is like, oh, you'll beat this, or it's going to be fine, or oh my God, you're going to die. Whereas just hearing that they've got time, that they can pause, that they can take a breath, that they can slow down, This is something so, so valuable, and it really helped them to mitigate that initial nervous activation, which of course is not going to be helpful for them. We want them to be in the psychology and the physiology of safety if they're going to be well. Then, of course, of course, thinking I can cope, I can handle this is beneficial rather than I can't cope. And now, what else is there? Well, there's genetics. And, you know, think about your genes and how it responds to what you're exposed to. Psychological and social factors can also affect your genes. There's some great studies that Joe Dispenza cites in his book, You're the Placebo, around how people's epigenetics changed and they got younger and healthier in 5 days just from surrounding themselves with people that were all pretending to be younger. Just by pretending to be younger, their bodies got younger. They had epigenetic changes, changes in their gene expression. It was incredible. So these are places where hypnosis can help, right? Psychological and social factors. Of course, we can help with stress-related conditions. We can help with conditions that are brought on through unnecessary exposure to pathogens or toxins and things like alcohol and cigarettes. We can help with I wrote stress related conditions twice in my notes because it must be really important. So stress related conditions. And we aren't covering it here today, but there's lots of other areas that hypnosis can help with. It can help with pain and chronic pain. There's so much research on that. I'm not covering that tonight. But what's more unknown is how hypnosis is well able to help with diseases of the immune system. And so that's what I'm going to go into next here. And again, not going to do heaps of detail. We've just got the hour of talking. So here are some basics. Okay. We can divide diseases of the immune system into two. We've got underactive and overactive, right? So an overactive immune system can be where chronic stress leads to immune dysfunction through increased inflammation. So we're stressed and we get inflamed. So let's give you a mechanism. Stress produces cortisol. Cortisol is triggering increased inflammation. Increased inflammation can trigger and worsen autoimmune conditions. Again, this can be via the amyloid protein route. We've got things, what are autoimmune conditions? We've got things like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, psoriasis, Hashimoto's. Now, I've personally had success in clinic with almost all of these things, helping clients get into complete remission and be free of symptoms. And I've got people that will testify to that. So I can tell you, not just through reading about it and theory, but through experience and practice, that hypnosis can help with these things. When you've got an autoimmune condition, your immune system is not working properly. And this is what, I don't know, sometimes I despair with some wrong thinking I think we have sometimes about our health. We just accept autoimmune conditions as a part of life. Oh, I've just got this disease and we just go along with it. No, that's not right. It's not meant to happen. Your immune system knows how to work. It's meant to work right. Something's gone wrong. Like we can fix that. That's not meant to happen. We're not meant to have an autoimmune disease that we then keep for the rest of our life and just have to suffer. It's not right. That's Daryl's belief, okay? So immune system's not working. It might be attacking your system. There might be inflammation leading to your immune system looking for the problem and then accidentally attacking your own cells, your own body. Think inflammation, think flare up. We're stressed, we're inflamed, we flare up, heat, fire, and there we have burning immune system. We've got heat in the body. Lots of cultures like Ayurveda, Indian culture, Chinese culture with Chinese medicine, they talk a lot about heat and cold in medicine. There's something to it, even in the words that we use. Hypnosis and mindfulness is great at cooling the immune system. It's great at calming an overactive immune system down. It's great at cooling and calming inflammatory responses. It does this by reducing stress hormones. So you can either reduce stress, you can reduce the stress hormones, and this will lead to less inflammation and less flare-ups. Famously, one of my favorite moments was when I just got rid of my cat allergy. I was so inflamed and so red, and it was just pouring. And I was like, shit, I got 9 days staying in this room with this cat on holiday. I can't have this. And so I just did a little NLP technique and it went. And now I've got a cat in my house so I can cuddle all the time because my body, my immune system is not incorrectly responding to the cat as if it's a pathogen that's going to hurt me. And it's just being settled. Some history behind that is when I was a kid, I saw a cat coming to the house, and my mum says, "Oh, that's your recently deceased relative coming to visit you." And so unconsciously, I had a belief that cats were associated with death. Do, 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 do. Now, let's look at hypnosis and underactive immune system. So we've got the overactive things like Hashimoto's, psoriasis, inflammatory bowel disease, but we've also got underactive immune systems, okay? So chronic stress as well through a similar route with cortisol, as well as leading to overactive immune system, can also lead to immune suppression. So what are immune suppression diseases? That's going to be things like cancer. Again, this is one of the reasons why cancer doesn't scare me. And also I'm also a little bit frustrated about the attitude we all have against it as a society, is that, again, we kind of accept it as this bad luck thing, something that's happening to us that, oh no, now we're going to have to live with it and beat it or not beat it. Whereas really, I think it should be looked at as an immune system disease. It's not a foreign pathogen. It's not an invader that's coming into your body and taking over. We've all got cancer all the time. We all have it. We all have cells that go haywire, and our body comes along, our immune system comes along and says, you're not meant to be there, and gets rid of it. There's multiple mechanisms and fail safes to block cancer growth, and all of them have to go wrong in order for cancer to grow. So cancer, it shouldn't be there. And if it's there, your immune system's not working as it should. Now, do I specifically know why? And am I promising I can help? No. But my suggestion is that certainly looking after your nervous system, looking after your stress levels, that's going to help with your immune system to be balanced. Making sure you don't have chronic stress, that's going to help. And yes, I do think that hypnosis should be part of a side treatment when somebody's going through cancer. I think anything that helps their immune system is going to be very, very helpful. Because even if you're going through chemo or surgery or radiation, or you're doing it naturally, if you want to get cells out of your body, killed and out of your body, or dead cells out of your body, you're going to want your immune system doing that. That's the job of your immune system, to take them out, okay, once they've been killed, right? And to hunt down and find things that aren't meant to be there. So we need a healthy immune system. Then we've got things like HIV, where in HIV, what you've got is the cells that's meant to kind of go around and alert your body that something's wrong, being infected with a virus. Now, that should still be okay because you still should have macrophages going around and immune particles going around and eating the viruses and killing what's not meant to be there, right? So you've got something like, it's only 5% of people with HIV, they never develop AIDS. They never develop these secondary things, cancer and pneumonia and so on. And I wonder if it's their attitude. I wonder if it's their nervous system. And I think that it is. I think that somebody with HIV that has a positive mindset and a healthy immune system need never develop AIDS. Again, this is a theory, and I'm seeing some shaking of heads. And it's okay. You don't have to agree with me. We can do talk in the Q&A later. But what I have read, what I have researched, and what I've seen in my community is that there are different people who are more likely to succumb to different viruses and different illnesses quicker or slower. And I'm absolutely certain that our mind, our thoughts, and our level of stress has an effect on that. Now, chronic fatigue would be another one that comes under the guise of immune system suppression. And so with chronic fatigue, again, we don't really know how it works, but here's the what we do know is that it seems like all of a sudden it's like the immune system just stops working. Like there's a bit of a crash, and it tends to happen in people who are very high energy, very long-term stressed, you know, a lot of adrenaline, cortisol for a long time, and suddenly, boom, it's done. When we're stressed and we're wounded, so back in the olden days, right, back in days of caveman, our immune system would be dampened. And this was a natural response that would stop us from sending too much help to the wound, which might overwhelm the wound and cause too much swelling. And too much swelling would cause more damage. So one of the responses to stress is to actually dampen our immune system so that we don't do more damage to our body. That's great for dealing with tiger bites, right? And wounds from battle, but it's not good for dealing with work stress to have a dampened immune system in response to stress. So here's the mechanism as I see it, or as I understand it. Stress, high cortisol, converting to cortisone. Cortisone's lowering your immune system. Lowered immune system equals more cancer, progression of other diseases more quickly, more illnesses in general, more susceptibility to illnesses. There is a belief in the medical field and in society that you get diseases from exposure. I don't share that as a belief. I don't believe that you just become exposed and then you're sick. I believe there's also the terrain of your body that is either likely or not likely, susceptible or not susceptible to catch a virus and let it develop in your body should you get sick. For example, somebody that is eating junk food every day and they're not sleeping at all and they're stressed and they're smoking and they're exposed to somebody with a cold versus somebody else that's super healthy, living a clean lifestyle, drinking lots of fluids, sleeping well, exposed to the same person. One person might develop symptoms and one might not. And I know who I'd be putting my money on. Okay. So where do we go to from here? We're going to take a slight turn before we get into the meditation, because I want to give you some information on how I might start looking at all, because this is massive, right? And again, I'm not a doctor. So one of the things that I do with every single client that I'm working with medically or with pain is I involve their GP or their health practitioner. First we want to know, is it safe to work with this person? What do you think we can do? I study what I can to help me understand their medical conditions. But again, I don't know everything, right? I'm just doing my best job to help who's in front of me at the time. What we can do for almost everything is address stress. We can address psychological factors and we can address social factors. So if we're thinking of this and we're thinking, okay, I want to address the stress, but what's causing it? I want to address psychological and social factors, but what are they? Like, what kind of an intake do you need in order to get there? Well, I'll tell you what I don't do is I don't have a giant intake form. In fact, I don't have an intake form at all. I find the intake forms to be a barrier to people booking coming to see me. Instead, I have a chat with them on the phone for about 30 minutes. I'm going to just talk about what they're going through, talk about their condition. Today I had one of those calls. It's like, great, get your GP to email me. I'm going to have a conversation with your GP. We'll check if it's safe to work on this, and we'll go from there. And then I use what I call root cause exploration. And this is a method to unearth all of the aspects that need to be resolved in order to heal. Okay. So we're looking at underlying stresses, strains, attitude, beliefs, behavior, social factors, all of that. And I want to get it all. And I don't do it in the first session. Okay. I'm not going to do that. Somebody sits in front of me. I'm not going to do this big, giant exploration of their whole life. First, we need rapport. Yeah. As hypnotherapists, our number one job is rapport. We need to get on the same page with someone. We need to have that belief. We need to get into a situation where they trust you, where you demonstrate the effectiveness of hypnosis. We work on something small first, and then we can kind of dive into the deep dark and all the other stuff as we go through. So it's essential that I think if you're going to work in this field, that you give people an expectation. It's not a one and done. Okay, there's going to be some work to do, and we might not know how much work there is to do until we've had a couple of sessions. Over time, you might start to give people averages of how many sessions you think it is. But yeah, I guess under promise and over deliver is what I try to do there. So in my root cause exploration, what am I doing? Well, we're exploring the root cause. Easy. How do we do it? So you can use one of these three things. If you don't know any of them, I think you want to go and learn them. We want to talk to the subconscious using ideomotor responses or pendulum. And again, I'm not thinking pendulum as in talking to spirits. I'm thinking pendulum as in accessing the unconscious mind through micro movements of the fingers. And the other option could be kinesiology. My favorite personally is ideomotor responses, but I think any of these would do the job well. And you may have other techniques of accessing the subconscious. You could also do it just through a general hypnosis where you ask them while they're in hypnosis. You just have to trust that you're speaking to the part of them that has the correct answers. And then I'm going to take them through these questions. So the first one is about organ language. I'll ask my client, is there something you're saying to yourself that's affecting this? I hear it all the time, especially with weight loss, but I also hear it with medical conditions. I famously had a client with kidney tumors who said, I think 5 times in one 10-minute diatribe that about things that were pissing her off all the time. This is pissing me off. This is pissing me off. This is killing me. This is gutting me. I'm gutted. People use visceral language, language that's communicating to their physical body. And we don't want that. We want people to use the language of emotion, such as I'm angry, that annoys me, I'm devastated. So we're looking for that. And if we find that, we're going to change that. We're going to hypnotically suggest to them that you don't use that language anymore. And instead, when you have a feeling or emotion, you do your best to name that emotion or to write it down. We're going to next one, and again, there's no specific order to these questions. We're going to want to uncover any inner conflict. If somebody's got a big inner conflict, then of course that's something that can cause problems. That's something that can cause stress. If you're like, I want to do this, but I want to do that, or I'm drawn to this, but I need to do that, and you're feeling like you're pulled in two directions, then that's going to activate the stress response. So, with my clients, I want to identify any inner conflicts and I want to resolve them. And I'm going to resolve them using parts therapy, executive state identification, which is my favorite technique for resolving inner conflict, or any tools that you have, you could use. I want to uncover secondary gain. Now, most people, even with the big ones, have some secondary gain. So secondary gain being something positive that they get from having the illness. So it could be attention, for example. And this is a delicate question to ask your clients, but I always want to know if there was a positive, what would it be? Do you have any positives from that? Because, for example, if they're off work with chronic pain on SAC at 80% of a salary, they might not want to go back to their old job and be happy to stay off. And as much as they want to be well, and they're not lying, they genuinely want to be better, a part of them is holding them back, going, yeah, but if you're well, you're going back to work and you hate that job and you were miserable. And look what you can do now with your time. So we're looking for this secondary gain. Now, the next area is past experiences. And I think a lot of hypnosis and psychology focuses too much on this. I think that there is a place for it. And I think we need to expose and uncover, was there a significant event in your past that led towards these symptoms? One of the things that I did working in the health shop over the many years was ask people with similar symptoms and problems about questions about when their symptoms turned up or when they started. For example, somebody has migraines, I would ask them, do you hate your job? And the amount of times somebody said yes, or, well, I don't hate it, but it's really, really stressful right now and I need a break. But most people that I found that had migraines didn't like their job. Now, does that mean that the cause of migraines is not liking your job? No. But my suggestion is that there are, you know, there are things that can be going on now. It doesn't have to be a past experience. And there are commonalities that we can find when we ask people. One of those commonalities, if we come back to past experiences, is with cancer. When people get diagnosed with cancer, I would ask what happened 3 or 4 years ago. And generally, they can name a very stressful, traumatic event. It might be slightly longer or slightly nearer, but we know with really massive stressful events and traumas that there is an immune system and nervous system interplay that can potentially dampen the nervous system, sorry, the immune system. And so I'm going to want to deal with any trauma in my client's life. If they want to be well, then I want to clear that trauma, and not by talking about it for 20 weeks and re-traumatizing them, by literally taking it out of their system using somatic therapies, havening, things like that. Then what's next? I talked about present or current unresolved issues, such as you hate your job. So I'm going to ask that. But I won't usually say, do you hate your job? I'm like, is there a present or current unresolved issue that could be leading to these symptoms? Identification is another big one. I mentioned I had a similar condition to my mum, and this could be that. Do you get the sense that someone else has the same or similar conditions and you're trying to connect with them, maybe even unconsciously? This can happen, especially when people have passed and their relatives reach the age that their parent was and they pass. That's a common one, and they'll spontaneously develop the same condition or symptoms. Now, that could be genetic. That could be genetic. Or potentially, could it be their subconscious seeking to be like them, seeking to remember them, seeking to connect with them with their experiences? That's something we can explore in hypnosis. Another common one is self-punishment. We've all done bad shit, right? None of us have been perfect. And so a question I would ask is, are you punishing yourself for something consciously or unconsciously? I always put the unconsciously there because if you ask people consciously, they go, oh, no, 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 I'm not punishing myself. But their unconscious mind might disagree. It's why I love ideomotor responses. I've watched people sit and tell me out loud their answers, vocalize them, while their fingers disagree with them. Their unconscious goes, yes, while they're going, oh, no, no, it's not that. And their fingers going, yes. And they don't notice. And you're like, but your finger says yes. Your fingers tell me there's something there. Now, again, is this a diagnostic tool? No. Is this an accurate way to definitely tell what's going on for somebody? No. But it is a great way to explore potential causes, potential stressors, and create a kind of treatment plan for your clients, a session plan. Yes, I think so. Because based off of all the yeses that you're getting in here, this is where you're going to look. If somebody doesn't have a past trauma that's affecting them, you don't need to do regression work. You don't need to do trauma work. You can focus on resolving their current situation if that's where the problem is. Then we've got authority imprints. I want to know, and again, they probably wouldn't remember this. So in hypnosis, did someone with authority suggest to you that you have a problem or a condition while you were vulnerable? Did, a doctor or a teacher or a parent say, you'll never get over this, or you're never going to be well, or that's going to be stuck with you, something like that? I want to uncover this and I want to give her a counter voice. I want to look for the evidence of that. I mean, tonight I'm giving you the things that we're looking for. I'm not giving you the solutions. You can figure that out, or you can come and do my medical hypnosis course if you want. But I think if you're already a hypnotherapist, once you uncover this stuff, you already have tools, right? You already know that if you uncovered an authority imprint, you could wangle something to sort that out. Then we've got genetics. Is there a genetic cause to these symptoms? Is that what it is? That's harder to work with, but the mind can still affect your genes, or your gene expressions at least. Is there environmental cause? Is there something in your environment that is contributing to or causing these symptoms? Now, that your environment can include your thoughts, but it could include chemicals or allergens in the home, your work. It could include friends around you. It could include food that you're eating, drink. I had one boy who could not sleep, and the doctors could not figure out what it was, and the naturopaths couldn't figure out what it was, and I couldn't figure out what it was. But what we did figure out is that his subconscious said, I will be able to sleep when I move. That was what it was. When I move, I'll sleep. When I move, I'll sleep. He didn't know what it was. It's not going to work in this house. And they moved, and he could sleep straight away as soon as he could move. They found out, because his mom was so tenacious and she was so determined, they found out it was a type of black mold that he had a particular reaction to that caused massive surges of adrenaline in his brain, in his body, sorry, to keep him awake at night. And it was through inhaling this mold. As soon as this mold was gone, or he wasn't exposed to the mold, he could immediately sleep. So it could just be something in the environment, right? It doesn't have to be a thought, a past experience, a current situation. And then this takes us to another area where I won't go too deep into, which is spiritual. Is there a spiritual influence to this problem? For people who believe in past life regression, who believe in past lives, it's not a belief that I really believe, but I'm open to it. And certainly some of my clients will believe it. I would ask the question, does this problem stem from something unresolved in a past life? There could also be things such as entities, or there could be demonic attacks. Is the problem caused or made worse by an entity or a demonic attack? There could be soul wounds. So does this problem stem from an unresolved soul wound or injury? Now, this spiritual stuff, there's a whole lot less evidence for. Okay, so you can decide whether or not you want to ask these questions, whether it's appropriate from your clients. Maybe it's a metaphor. Maybe past lives or entities and all that is all a big metaphor for what's going on for your client. But by resolving the metaphor, we can resolve the mind and the condition. Or maybe it's real. Who knows? But if you have the information, what you have is a blueprint, right? You've got it. You've got your path. if we go through this and we know what's going on for your client, we know what the potential causes are, we now know what we're going to do. We can now use this to structure a session plan. So well done, guys. You guys have been awesome. You've kept wide awake. This is concluding my information sharing part of this session. So now I'm going to do hypnosis for anyone that wants to do it. And after the hypnosis, we're going to do Q&A. So any questions, concerns, anything you want to ask, I'm going to be here for that. It's going to be a short hypnosis, 15 minutes. So don't worry. If you're feeling quite tired, it might refresh you. If you have something, if you want to go, feel free, and we'll catch up with you later. Otherwise, if there's something that you want to work with in this hypnosis, you can pop it in the chat. You could do it as a private message if you don't want anyone else to see it. And I will include it in the hypnosis that we're going to do. And let's take 2 minutes, right? So if you want to go and get some water or nip to the loo or something like that, and I'll wait a couple of minutes before we get started. So it's going to pause the recording. So don't worry about beliefs. Don't worry about my beliefs. Utilize your beliefs. What do you believe in? Do you believe in God? Are you going to pray to him while we're doing this? Do you believe in the goddess? Pray to her. Do you believe in the law of attraction? Attract it. Do you believe in the power of your unconscious mind? Then get that unconscious mind to work. So whatever you believe in, I want you to take that with you to this hypnosis that we're going to do, okay? So let's start. Let's start with closing our eyes and just setting an intention of what this hypnosis is going to do. I want you to set an intention that whatever you're thinking about will be resolved, perhaps even spontaneously, but at least that you'll have motivation or a direction or hope of a resolution. Or perhaps you can think of something more specific and more personal just for you. So what do you want to achieve by the end of this hypnosis? Just think about that in your own mind. And now, just take a few long, deep breaths. Some of you will be really awesome at going into hypnosis, and you can just drop right on in there. And some of you may have never been hypnotized before, and that's okay too. All that matters is that you just follow me, okay? So I'm going to take you somewhere and just want you to come along. So just close your eyes. Take a few long, deep breaths. You can move anytime you want to become more comfortable. And just tell your body to relax. Tell your mind, just let go. You're not learning anymore. You're experiencing. And you don't have to remember anything because this is being recorded so you can listen back again. And that means you can just completely let go. You can relax and know that whatever needs to happen today is going to happen. I truly believe that what we're bringing into this situation right now is the absolute incredible power that exists in this universe that's really going to help you. And I want you to imagine that you're somewhere that you absolutely love being. Let's start with somewhere fun. Where's somewhere that you just love being at so much fun? At a friend's house and you're all laughing. Do you like being at a fun fair, Rainbow's End, the Gold Coast? What's fun for you? So imagine you're somewhere fun and just remember how that feels. It feels to be somewhere where you're really just enjoying yourself, where you've got that sparkle in your eye, where you just feel alive. And just breathe into it. Breathe into the feeling in your body that you have when you're doing the things that make you happy. What are you doing? Are you playing outside with kids or with an animal? Are you dancing? Are you listening to music? Are you doing your favorite thing to do? Are you laughing? Are you giggling? Are you watching comedy? Now, what about when you're feeling very relaxed and peaceful? Where do you go then? Where's somewhere you've been in the past or somewhere you could imagine where you felt extremely safe and extremely relaxed? Just go there. Take your mind there. It might go through a few things. Just allow it to settle on one. What's one place where you have been in your life, or you could imagine being, where you were just so relaxed, just so deeply relaxed. Like you just did not want to move, that you just did not want to leave. Maybe you were on a beach or in a park or a field, or maybe you were just at home tucked up in bed, somewhere cozy. Where's somewhere where you've been in your life where you were just so wonderfully relaxed? And what did it feel like in your body? Did your body feel heavy? Did it feel light, like you had no body? What did it feel like? Just remember it. You can remember it much more clearly than you think. I want you to remember what you saw then if your eyes were open. And even if there weren't, what was around you? Were there trees? Were there waves? Was there grass? What was there? Were there the walls of your home with photos and mirrors or whatever's in there? When you're in your place where you feel supremely relaxed, what was around you? Just visualize it as best as you can. Now make it bright, make it vivid, make it colorful. Make that image strong as if you're looking through your own eyes. What could you see? What could you hear? And yes, there are noises around you, and it's okay for you to pay attention to those. You're just paying attention to if it's necessary to pay attention, and if it's not, you just let them go. You can just bring yourself back to this place. Your mind wanders up and down just like waves, and you can just come back. And what did you hear? What was it like? Was it loud? Was it quiet? Do you not remember any sounds? Maybe you don't, but I bet there were some. I bet you could at least hear your breathing. Just bring that back. And what about smells? Did you smell anything? What smells were there, even if you don't remember? I'm sure you can imagine that there were smells, some pleasant smells. What was the taste in your mouth? What was the feeling in your stomach? Let's bring it all back. Make it as clear as you can. Make the sounds clear. Make any smells clear. Make the feeling strong. And now the feeling in your body. Let's go back to that. What did it feel like? It felt good, didn't it? It felt so nice. That's why you remember it now. And you can bring that. You can have that feeling now. You don't need to wait to go there again. You can have that feeling right now. Just drop into it. Allow yourself to do that. Feel it all through your body. That deep relaxation that just feels so, so good. Notice where you feel it. Did you feel it in your arms? Were they heavy? Your stomach? Did it just feel so content? Your legs? Where did you feel it? Because the more relaxed you allow yourself to feel, the easier it is for your body to do what it needs to do. The more that you have a really deep sense of relaxation, the easier it is for you to resolve either progressively or spontaneously anything that's on your mind. Now, this could come through a reactivation of your immune system. It could come through a modulation of your immune system or nervous system. It could come through spontaneous ideas or changes in behaviors and thought patterns. And you don't know exactly how it will happen, but you can believe that it can. You can believe that you have the power to allow changes happen in your body, knows exactly what you need to do, the things that make you feel good, not just for a moment, but long term. You can see an image of you fading into the future, getting stronger and bright as it moves towards the things that are healthy for you. Your body knows what health is. It senses the feeling of healthy progression. And whether you're moving into bright health now, or whether you're allowing some changes to happen in your body, you know that it must happen for you now, whether it happens soon or whether it happens progressively. You are declaring it, you're causing it, you are telling yourself, you're telling the universe, you're telling the higher power, whoever it is that you believe in, you're telling them, I know that I deserve this. I know that I deserve wellness. I know that I'm a loving, beautiful human being who was born perfect with a perfect blueprint, and shit happened, and things happened, and I wasn't perfect, and things weren't okay. And I know that I had bad things, and people did bad things to me, but I know that I deserve it. I know I deserve to be well. I know I deserve forgiveness. I know I deserve to forgive people where I can. I know I deserve to let go of things, to take this backpack off. I know that I deserve to walk through my future feeling light, and for light to encompass every cell in my body is filling up with a beautiful cleansing light that washes, it just washes all the way to your past, rushing through like a river through every moment, every memory, every situation, every trauma. That light is seeking out and healing whatever needs to be healed, subconsciously, powerful, spontaneously, immediately. That light is whooshing into your present around every moment, every person, everything. And magically, spontaneously, without any effort, this light raises the vibration of your present. It raises the vibration of every moment in your past. It goes through your bloodline. It goes through your parents and their parents and their parents, all the way to the beginning of time. It spreads through the world. This light rushes. It rushes through the world, clearing everything from everyone. It resets. It is a clean slate. You can imagine the feeling of starting again. You can imagine the feeling of having all the wisdom that you have now, all the learnings of your life, and just letting go. Just finally, just letting go of everything you don't need. Just dropping it. Just put it down. Just throw it away. Just decide whether I feel worthy or not. I'm just going to get rid of it. I'm just going to do that today. I'm just going to accept that I'm fucking awesome, that I'm brilliant, that I'm a loving person, that I have good intentions, that I am kind, that I am caring, and I deserve it. And so I declare neck issue gone, muscular spasms gone. I tell it to happen. I declare it. I send the light through all of the causes. I declare arteries clear, any clogging going. I draw to me the spontaneous healing that needs to occur for that to happen. I draw to me inspiration for the lifestyle changes, the food, the drink, whatever I have to do to heal my body. I draw it to me. It becomes known to me supernaturally. I draw to myself the food and the lifestyle, the thoughts, the behaviors, the beliefs that are going to be to my benefit. My immune system is supercharged. Wow, this feels good. I can see it. I can see a picture in my mind's eye of every cell in my body vibrating at a higher frequency. I can feel it. I feel clean. I feel clear. This white light is whooshing. It's rushing. I am being cured. I'm being healed. I say a prayer to whoever I believe in. Please, I beg you, heal me. I accept this healing. I deserve this healing. I know it. I'm a loving person and I am loved, and I deserve this love to heal me. And I feel every cell in my body raising its vibration. I feel my immune system getting stronger. I can see it. I can almost imagine like a new army of new soldiers wearing new uniforms, all refreshed, all strong. They ignore all the ones from the past. They've retired. These are retrained. They're trained again and they know what to do, and I can see it. It's like little trains going about my body, delivering nutrients to where they need to go. If I have any issues with arthritis or any joint pain, I can see it. I can see the cartilage, the synovial fluid. I can see the tissue, the bones surrounding the joints, all regrowing, all getting stronger, all remineralizing, all improving, all getting better. And even my memory, even my moods are improving. It's like my brain is being washed as well. It's been washed not just of negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions and traumas of the past, but it's been washed of any toxic buildup, of any damage, of anything that shouldn't be there. And the white light just whoosh, washes through your brain, washes through your brain, washes through your brain. And you declare, I am healed. I am whole, holy, and healed. I'm a whole person. And to become whole is to become holy. I'm a holy person, someone that believes in something. And to be holy is to be whole. And to be whole and holy is to be healed. And I am healed. And I accept this healing. And I move into this healing. And I believe in this healing. And I trust this healing. And I allow this healing to happen. And so just allow yourself to move into it. Allow these changes to happen. See your future differently. You have new eyes. And you can see this new future where these situations are resolved. You can hear what people are saying. You can notice them noticing it, that you look clearer, that you look brighter, that something has shifted. And whether it happens really quickly or whether it happens over time, you can have a deep faith, a deep knowingness that you can find the path, that you have the path, that you have the key, that you know where you need to go to get where you want to be. Any aches and pains in the shoulder, anywhere else, gone, disappear supernaturally, immediately, or over time. You can trust this. You can trust yourself. You're a trustworthy person, or at least you're becoming one now. You're changing. You're letting go of the past. You've put it down. You're drawing a line between today and every situation from the past. You take everything you need. You take all the lessons, all the value, all the awesomeness. You get rid of the rest. It's crap. You can use it as fertilizer in your field. You can grow more awesome stuff from it. And now, instead, you plant seeds for your future. You plant seeds of ideas that will grow, that will blossom, that will flourish, that will bear fruit. You can see these seeds full of light for your future. You can see wherever you go, drops of light happening. It's raining drops of light tomorrow. The wind is carrying light within it for weeks and weeks. The sun shines it down on you every day. And this is your daily reminder that your body is being flooded with healing light. And you have the wisdom and you've let go of the rest. The light is all encompassing and you trust it and you believe in it. And you can see what it's like to walk in it. You can see what it's like to forget about all this, just to decide not to take any of it on board, not to believe it, and just to go about life as it was. And maybe that's what you want. Imagine that. If it is, that's okay. You can go and do that. You have free will. You are free. But you can also see what it's like if you decide to believe it. If you decide that this is true, if you declare, and if it is in fact true, you can imagine the path of healing, the path of you becoming whole, the path of you resolving whatever issue at all it is, whether it happens physiologically and naturally, whether it happens through the perfect design of your body and blueprint, or whether it happens supernaturally. You can see it happening. I know you can make an image of it. I know you can imagine it. Imagine it now. What is it like? What does it feel like? And you can declare it, you can decide it. You can be washed with light all the way to your past through every moment. Wash all the way through your life right now, through everything that's ever happened to you, everything that is happening to you. And you can send that light whoosh into your future through everything that will happen. It can whoosh through your brain, clearing it out, cleaning it out, cleaning out any amyloid protein or cortisol. It can clear out anything that's not meant to be there, fogging it up. Whoosh through your body, moving through every cell, the space between your cells, moving through every organ, every tissue, every gland. Whoosh, clearing, cleaning, making it feel better, renewing. You are renewed. Your cells are vibrating at a higher frequency. Your body is vibrating at a higher frequency. Your mind is vibrating at a higher frequency. Or you are becoming whole, holy, and healed. And you believe it and you declare it and you can do it and you deserve it and you must have it. So you will. And this is yours and it's yours to take. And the sun reminds you every day of the power of this light and the power of your mind and the power of the person that you look up to, that person or that thing or that substance outside of yourself or inside of yourself that you can have a deep connected faith with, and you stay connected to that because this is your key. This is the magic ingredient that you can take with you that will make sure of success. And when you have success, you can look back and see that path. You can look back and go, yes, that was it. There was something and there was a key and I found it. And I'm going to tell other people about that key too. And you can share it with people, or you can keep it as a private personal story. But whoosh, this light moves through every area of your body, whoosh through every tissue, every organ, every gland, every cell in your body, every atom is cleansed and cleared. Every energy, every frequency, it is all cleared and cleansed. And so take a deep breath and enjoy it. Breathe with those new lungs. Notice what it feels like. Breathe with that new body. Breathe with that new sense of being, that new you. Because let me tell you, because if I haven't already, because you need to know this, you are awesome. You are brilliant. And you can do anything that you want to, despite what somebody might have told you. You literally can do anything. And you're going to. You're going to do whatever it takes, whatever you need to do to resolve your issues. You're going to do it. That's why you're here. And that's why you're doing this. So it's evidence of success right there, is the fact that you're taking these steps. So pat yourself on the back. Get ready. This is going to be a fun ride. It's not going to be stressful at all. It's going to be relaxing. It's going to be enjoyable. It's going to be beautiful. You're going to feel good while you do it. So really get excited for your future. Bring this new you to the front. Give it a new name if you want. Or keep your name and attach that name to this new you. Make it so that you have this solidified. And just open that little cupboard in your mind where you had your old body image. Throw out the old one. It's already gone anyway. The light already cleared it. Put this new one in. Shut the door. That's your self-image. That's who you are. That's who you're becoming. Now, Before you come back, your brain might have some processing to do, or your mind might. So I really don't want you to rush. Instead, maybe go back to that relaxing place. Just stay there for a while and just let your brain do whatever it needs to do for as long as it needs. It might need more time. It might need to work on this situation while you're sleeping or while you're meditating over the next few days. Just let that happen too. Or if you prefer and you want to keep the energy high, go to that fun place and spend time with the things that made you excited and fun and joyful. So I'm going to leave you now in silence. And in that silence, you can go wherever you want and just trust yourself. Trust your subconscious. It's so massively powerful. Trust in whatever you believe in, that changes are happening for you right now.